Hello again, my friends, my fellow Advent adventurers. I am literally out here at the moment bringing in logs, and I was looking at how dark it's starting to get and thought, you haven't done a video yet. So yeah, you join me on the log journey. You can lob a few in the barrow if you want to. In our journey today, our journey where we are claiming back Christmas, we are rediscovering the wonder and the mind-blowing reality of Advent. We're going to look at these mysterious three characters. Or are there three? The wise men, what is that about? What's going on here? Most of what we know about them comes from a carol which an arty sort of guy made up. Okay, so we know they came from the east, could have come from two main regions. Scholars, they don't know, they argue about it. Probably had a knowledge of the one true God, but didn't know him as Yahweh. Probably had a moral code, may have discovered from the Jewish scriptures there was an expected Messiah, but they were smart, they were clever, they were ahead of their time, maybe involved in stuff that we wouldn't believe in today, but they were smart enough to work out that this is when the King of the Jews was going to be born. And they walked a long way. We don't know how many of them there were. They weren't kings, they were magi, which means they were smart. They were probably involved in astronomy and astrology. They'd have probably been very good at maths, and they had a sense of destiny. And that's about all we know. There may have been 30 of them, there may have been 3 of them. They may have turned up quietly on their own, or as I suspect, because they opened their treasures. You read this through in Matthew chapter 2. They opened their treasures, probably had guards with them, you know, maybe an entourage, but we don't know. And here's the thing, what we learn from them is more about what's not said than what is said. Now, really sorry, I've got to mess up the nativity scene again. And don't worry, I'm not anti-nativity scenes. I've got one in my house. I think they're absolutely great. Let me just adjust the camera here. I think nativity scenes are great, but they're art. When they rocked up, Joseph would have rented his own house by then. Jesus was probably about 18. This is all in the language when it talks about the child. We know that Jesus was probably toddling around by this stage. They'd walked a long way. You know, they couldn't hop on an aeroplane. You know, they set out to come and find the King of the Jews. Now, here's what we need to look at. These are not Jewish people. These are Gentiles. They are not worshipping Yahweh as he has prescribed. And yet God has allowed them to see what is going on. Why is this? Because Matthew is wanting us to see what's coming. You see, Matthew's writing this, he already knew, he was there, he's seen everything that's happened, and he wants us to be drawn into it too. So God had promised Abraham that through you all the nations of the world will be blessed. Here comes the King of the Jews, and guess what? He's not the King of the Jews only, he's the King of everyone, because these men seek him out and they worship him. And we get the 3 from the fact that they brought the gold, the frankincense and the myrrh. And there is tremendous symbolism, you know, you can look about as preparing for death and acts of worship. But we can sum it up in this way. They were the gifts that you brought to a king or a deity. That's what's going on here. And so right there, we're identifying who Jesus is. He's the King. Yes, he is God. And it looks like they recognize possibly his deity as well. But once again, where was the high priest? Where were the teachers of the law? Where were the Jewish leaders? They weren't there, because what we see here is you can get so full of being full of the things of God that you manipulate them and you shape them for your own benefit, that when God does turn up, you miss him. They said they were waiting for him and they missed him. And I think for me, that's a sobering lesson. I don't believe as a born-again Christian, you're going to miss the return of Jesus. If his spirit is in you, he's not about to abandon you. I mean, it might catch you out. I think we're all going to be surprised, to be honest. We don't know the day or the hour or anything like that. But when God does move, he can move right under our noses. And unless we've got eyes to see and unless we've got ears to hear, we miss him. We miss him. I mean, Jesus was born in the town where God had told them 700 years previously he would be born. They knew he would be born there. They talked about him being born there. And they missed him. They missed him. And so let's not miss what God is doing. And I'm going to finish with this. We're in crazy times right now. My area, Bedfordshire, we've just gone today. We found out we're going on to tier 3 on the lockdown. And if you're in the UK, you get that. If you're somewhere else in the world, you know what's going on. People are in desperate straits and it's got worse. Don't let the waves, don't let the chaos, don't let the confusion take your eyes off of who God is and what he is doing. Just because the world has gone mad doesn't mean God's not moving. Just because the world has gone mad doesn't mean God's not saving people. And just because the world has gone mad, it doesn't mean that God is not moving in your life. He really, really is. So let's open our hearts, let's open our eyes, let's open our ears and say, Lord, show us what you're doing. Help me be a part of what's going on. And in all of this crazy, just us funny little people, us little Advent adventurers, let's not forget to bend our knees and worship the one true King, Jesus, our Messiah. Have a fabulous day, my friends. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.